effective, and should the government continue the program? Joining me now to talk about this, Republican Congressman Peter King of New York. He serves on the Homeland Security and Intelligence Committees. And Congressman, what do you think the ultimate result is here? Do you think this will be settled by the Supreme Court?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I fully agree with Judge Pauley's decision that the NSA's actions are entirely constitutional. Having said that, I think this case is going to go to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Judge Leon's decision or ruling is going to go to the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. I think we can, again, I have no way of predicting how that's going to go, but this certainly seems like the type of case that is going to end up in the U.S. Supreme Court, because it is a paramount national interest, and there is obviously conflict, and that conflict may show itself again at the U.S. Court of Appeals level.
And Congressman, this all started back with Edward Snowden. We've heard from him recently in an interview with the Washington Post. He said mission accomplished, partially because he says that what he revealed stirred a great international debate on mass surveillance. Then this week in a message broadcast on British television, he said this.
The conversation occurring today will determine the amount of trust we can place both in the technology that surrounds us and the government that regulates it.
Now, so let me ask you, do you agree with Edward Snowden that this debate about surveillance has been an important one?
No. First of all, I think Edward Snowden is a disgrace. He's a traitor. He's a defector. And what he's spread really is mass hysteria and also mass misinformation. For instance, the NSA is not collecting information on phone calls other than one phone number to another. There's no names involved, there's no content involved, and they're not surveilling emails either. So that all these false stories are out there. Like Edward Snowden says, the NSA knows where he is or follows people, or they can listen in on the president's phone calls. No, it's under strict court supervision. Last year, after billions and billions of phone numbers were assembled, there were less than 300 were even looked at. And right now, I think there's 60 American citizens throughout the world who are under any type of surveillance because of the NSA's efforts. And it's not done by the NSA, it's done by the Justice Department. So no, this is the most carefully monitored, watched, and constitutional program we have. And Edward Snowden has spread fear and hysteria, and to me, he's an absolute disgrace.
Congressman, last week, President Obama was asked directly for evidence that NSA programs had stopped another 9/11. He didn't name a specific one. Has there been a single terrorist threat that you say has been stopped by this program?
Well, in his opinion today, Judge Pauley refers to 3 of them. I am very familiar with one of them, and that's the attempted attack by Zazi in 2009 on the New York City subway system. I was actually there with Commissioner Kelly when this was unraveling, when the plot was unraveling, and the NYPD and the FBI were onto it. And this came in large part because of the efforts of the NSA. They were absolutely instrumental in that. And there's any number of others. I mean, the NSA has given examples of over 50. Judge Pauley today cites 3 of them in his opinion. And Judge Leon last week, you have the President of the United States, the Director of National Intelligence, and the head of the NSA and the CIA all saying that this surveillance is important. Judge Leon is not an intelligence expert, and he went outside his lane. As a federal judge, he has no say at all on whether or not something is helpful or good or bad. He has to decide strictly the constitutionality. And for him to say he wasn't impressed or he wasn't convinced that it served an intelligence purpose, that's none of his business. The Constitution has the judges interpreting laws and applying it to the Constitution. It's up to the President and the Congress to define and decide whether or not something is of importance as far as intelligence is concerned.
So the White House, the President appointed this independent panel to give him suggestions on recommendations on what to do.